This video is sponsored by
Echo D Super Baby Diaper and Wet Wipes.
My name is Joyce. I'm a Nyampon Sapon. I'm a trained human resource manager. I have 2 kids, and in about 4 weeks or less, the third one will be coming. The first is a boy, the second is a mini-me, and the third I'm yet to find out. That one is Jara, so I'm waiting. I actually have a problem. After hierarchy, I didn't menstruate again. And so finding out I was pregnant, it was something, unthought of. So first person I told was my mom. I told her I wasn't feeling too good and, but I had pain in the breast. And she smiled. She was like, oh, go and see Dr. So-and-so at so-and-so place. So I did. And my doctor was like, is your man? I said, yeah. We have good news too. I said, what do you mean by good news? He says, oh, go to lab and come. I said, for what? I'm kind of stubborn. I mean, somebody who would not banter words but argue with my doctor. Why would you ask me to run this test? Why should I do it? You need to explain everything. So yes, he said, oh, go for lab. He didn't want to tell me, because if he had said pregnant, I would have said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, and then I'll go. So yes, I went for lab, and the technicians there were my friends. They started to laugh, because, hey, this is hardcore. Now we've cornered her. So he said, oh, go, I'll send the results myself. Before you get to the doctor, your results will be there. What are these people talking about? So yes, I got there, and he was like, oh, sit down. And I sat. He said, I have good news. I said, okay. He said, oh, you're going to have a baby. I said, me? That was the look on I went like, me? He said, yeah, why? Are you not a woman? I said, yeah. He said, don't you do the things women do? I said, yeah, but. He said, but what? You are privileged. I said, okay. I had mixed feelings, so I came back to tell my sister, this is it. And well, for me, I had mixed feelings. I don't know about my sister and my mom, but that was how I found out I was pregnant. Okay, for those who have been ardent viewers, there was this lady doctor. I don't know, wherever I'll find her, she's very truthful. Fact is, my pregnancy has taught me things. And I found out I had hyperemesis. This is a condition you have to go through. It is severe spitting. I mean, severe vomiting. Everything is severe. You can't stand scents. You can't stand anything, not food, nothing. I mean, for months, I can't drink even half a bottle of water. You can imagine. Anything you ingest comes out. And it's a horrible experience. My first time, I didn't know how to handle it. I was in and out of hospital. I mean, you have a job, the next moment you lose your job, because it's a big sacrifice having to lose your job for a child and for a family. And I don't know, and the fact is, it starts right as soon as you get to learn you are pregnant. It just comes like that, as if it's psychological. And everybody has advice for you. Chew carrots, eat apples, go for the bland biscuits. Nothing goes in. I mean, and you are always on infusions. Your hands are swollen. You are swollen. It wasn't a nice journey for me. This doctor came and she said so. She lost, I think she had to quit because of it, because she couldn't stand it. I mean, that was bare fact. Those who go through, I've viewed people who come and they talk about hyperemesis, and then after 3 months it goes. I mean, you have to, for my case, I went through hyperemesis the first pregnancy, for 6 months. No food, no water. Every 3 days you are in hospital. There was a day my dad had to call husband to come. He was working in the eastern region, to come down and come and take over. I think he said he took off around 3 a.m. because my father called him between 1 and 2. He took off around 3 a.m. By 6, 7, he was at the clinic. You can imagine. And he had to send a text and tell his boss, this is what had happened. When he came that day, I wept because I couldn't do anything. I was just lying down. So he picked me up like a baby. I had reduced from 80 kg to 54 in like 3 months. And he had to lift me like that, like a baby, and send me to the washroom, bath me. I cried. And at that point, I told him, I can't do this. I remember, I said, you know what? I can't do this. The doctor is right in front of the hospital room. Just go to him. If you give your permission, they will abort it. I'll be free. You will be free to go. And he looked at me and said, maybe their drugs is getting into your head. You are going to go through it. I said, you don't know what is happening to me. You know, I felt like the world had deserted me. You can't eat. You know, but fortunately, after that incident, I found a specialist and a very good OB-GYN, and since then he's been the one handling the first one was a boy. I hear the boys, they are something else, because even at the point of going to birth, I still had problems. You know, doctor said I was small, so they had to cut episiotomy. And still, baby wasn't coming. And, you know, my mother was standing out there and she wasn't making things easier. You know, the mothers, they're like, hey, push, oh, if you don't push and this baby will come out, something will happen to you. I can't afford to lose you. And the baby, my grandson. And look, it got to me, when you are having a baby and the midwife is talking to you, you don't hear her. The pain is such that you don't hear what is around you. You are lost in pain. But I could hear my mother's voice. And forgive me, she was irritating me. So I said, Mama, shut up. I could find the strength to tell my mother to shut up. But I couldn't find the strength to push. But when the doctor said, baby, I do it, I had vowed that up until this time, there's no surgical blade that will touch my upper body. So as soon as he said it, I looked at the midwife. She was like, can you do it? I said, Madam, so me why? I remember I said, so me why? The doctor said, you want to do it? I said, you won't cut me today. You will not cut me. He said, but you are stressing. I said, I won't stress anybody. You hold me. The baby will come. And yes, baby did come. And he will be 8 tomorrow. Baby did come. But for the girl, it was better because probably I was being handled by a specialist. I didn't have that much infusions. The boy, I counted 72. The girl, I counted 5. And this one on the way so far has been 4. I hope I won't get again. So that's it. For the boy, who was honestly, I mean, they say you forget but you don't. And when I remember, I sweat. It wasn't easy. When it started, is that what they call latent? You know, I didn't know what it was, so I felt maybe, you know. And as for me and pain there, I am thinking I can handle. I see myself as a very strong girl. So the night before, I was in my sister's house, and imagine the sleep positions, because this pain won't go away. So I lay down on my back and put my feet on the bed. And she kind of opened my door and she saw me lying. She said, what is wrong with you? I said, I'm exercising. And at a point, I said, no, Masa, let me go and tell my sister something is happening to me. This was around dawn. So I went there. As soon as I touched the handle, she was like, Ajwa, shall we go? And I said, no, she will laugh at me. Let me go. She said, then why did you open my door? I said, I'm looking for my phone charger. My sister is smart, so she knew something was up. Apparently, she had packed my bag and put it just in front of the corner of the room. So she said, morning came, and apparently she had called mom and dad. These people, my mother had worn her cloth, my father had come. And my dad was like, free fuel, easy ride, or you want a taxi, pick one. I said, I'm not going anywhere. By this time, the sitting position had changed. I couldn't sit on my buttocks. I had to adjust. So my sister was like, but the baby is coming. You let us get up and go and stop what you are doing. You deliver in the car, send me. I don't feel what is happening to me is not. I'm just not myself today. My mother said, Ajwa, let's go. I said no. My father started to laugh. And my father, when he starts laughing at you, Masa. So we got to the hospital. That day, I ate. I ate fufu. I asked for fufu, I was given. I asked for jollof rice, I was given. He brought one for my mother, the midwife. I ate all 3 packs. He had to go and bring another one. I ate and I drank 4 big bottles of water. And after, I threw up half. And then labor began. My mother was in the room with me. I said, Mama saw me night. Then I had to do all the skills. But before that, when we entered, I was laughing at somebody. They checked somebody. They said the person was 3 cm. They checked me. I was 3 cm. And this person was screaming. I said, if I am 3 and she's 3, why is she screaming? And why am I not screaming? So, minutes later, the nurse said, the doctor said, are you sure you are pregnant? Get up and let me see. Then I'll stand. I don't have a big belly. So, I will stand. Sit down. Then I'll sit. And then when I got to 6, call it a showdown. That was when I wouldn't shout because the midwife was there. But who me and then the thing won't let you me. It is a certain pain that no painkiller can kill. You can't hold yourself. You can't do anything to let the pain. It will cripple you. And then when the baby comes, the breeze that passes by you, oh my goodness, you don't know. So after the first one, I told the midwife, you won't see me here again. She said, don't worry, I'm giving you 2 years. Okay, so 2 years, 8 months, I came back. And the doctor said, I'll do it myself. Now before he got to me, he said, don't push. I said, I'll push because I couldn't stand the edge. And then it came. Boys is different. Girls is mellow. And this one will be a girl. Yes, it came from all corners. My family is a big unit. Big sisters, big brothers, everybody is there. So I didn't have to tire. The support was everywhere. My mother, at a point, said, why do you even have to buy a diaper? Everything came in. So, support was huge. The boy, he grew too fast for me. By 8 months, he had already started walking. He started teething very early, so I thought he was sick. So it was his grandma that said, oh, my house, that's how the daddy did. So that's how he's going to come up with. And by 1 year, my boy was speaking fluent English. He could make sentences. He could talk. Yeah, he became like a conversationalist. But the girl, it was after 2 years, and the daddy was getting worried. But both of them are smart, but the girl is smarter, and I shouldn't have cause to complain because they've all been on schedule. There's been no problem with them. So And the boy is there's an English word I want to use. Okay, let me break it down. He loves food. When I had him, the midwife told me that I couldn't do what we call it, exclusive. And I said, okay. My mother went to her, said, oh, I realized you gave the boy water. She said, yes. And you've given baby food. He said, yes. When who's a man and we're eating? And she said, oh, you augment the none, and I had to augment. So, and even the augmenting, I mean, it still, he was still yelling. So my sister said, hey, we did it for, we won't so did it for, and so one day I came back from work. My mother had prepared morikoko, like water, very watery, and then she fed him, and that was like 2.5 months. That day he slept. He slept straight. We got scared. We thought he was sick. He slept 6 hours straight. Yes. So he ate early. And then after a while, on this, I think by 5th, 6th month, his grandma started giving him food. And he will eat. I never had problems. Up till now, he eats pepper, no problem. And he eats well. The problem was with the girl. She was something, she was just opposite of the boy, and it's still like that. She is not a food person. So the dad will buy all sort of baby food, and she will eat this for a month, she'll stop, she'll eat this. It's not been easy, but she's now, her favorite is the kukunte and the banku, but it's in bits. She's 5.5 now, so we are still transitioning. As for babies, every day is an experiment, so. Oh, you don't want to know. My girl is like me. She's the fighting type. Should I say fighting? I know my rights. That's how they put it. I know my right type. And the boy is the Adrian Kessier type. Wants to always beat you. And the girl is smart, so you can imagine. One time, I came out from the kitchen to meet the girl sitting on top of the boy, pummeling him, and he was trying to hold her hands together. The daddy just came out like, get up! Have you seen me doing that to your mother before? They all stood up. No, daddy. If I grab you like this, you will see. And that was it. They will do it when daddy is not there. But the arguments, once in a while, it goes. I mean, I think it's like that. When you have a girl and a boy, there's always sibling rivalry. So as for me, I don't know how to solve that one. So when it happens, I just try to walk away. Yeah.
Tell us.
Okay. I'm privileged. My father is a teacher. So I look for a home school. When I say a home school, a school that is in a home. So when you're late, you know, there's always somebody around. They don't just leave the kids in some uncompleted. And I make friends with the teachers. I've been a teacher myself, so I make friends with them. I talk to them. They tell me about my kids. You know, I look out for teachers who have had, like, grown teachers who have experience with motherhood other than those with the teaching, you know, because for them the teaching comes easier. It becomes a calling instead of a skill, you know. So that's the basic thing I look out for. Working, and it's a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult task. I have to call in my parents, and it's not easy. I mean, my mother makes it very easy, but it's not easy. Yeah, because there are times you have to rush to the office. You have to see to your child. I used to work as a headmistress in a Montessori school, and at that time I had my daughter. My son was in the school, so, and I had moved from my in-laws' house, and I was with my parents, and we lived in Kaswa, and the school was in Bubuashi. you won't get a car. So I have to wake up at 3 a.m. and clean up my daughter, bath my son. And I didn't have a car. Wait for a trotro. And then we'll pick the trotro. We'll get to Kanishi around 3:30, 4. And then I have to wait for Kanishi people to come so that I'll pick a car and get to the school. Everything should be set by 6 o'clock. You can imagine I'm the last to leave the school, and sometimes I leave around 7. Imagine getting a car from Kanishi to Kaswa. My son will sleep and then will pee in the car because his diaper is too wet. You're in a hurry to get home, and I have a 5-month-old baby with me. You can imagine. It's not been easy. It's not been easy at all. So I had to stop work. And he said, our boss said, let me find you a shop. You sit down, you work, and you take care of my children. Initially, I didn't understand myself. Papa, my co school, papa, me call Central University, my public school, massa. And life was okay for me. I was not making much, but I was okay. And then you tell me to stop the job, and I had to fight my dad and my mom. My mom was like, oh, this world is full of sacrifices. Usually it's the woman who does much of the sacrifice, so you have to do it. And then I had to, swallow my ego and then do what they had asked me to do. It's not been bad. It's okay. I have time for my kids. I see people's kids, and I wouldn't want my children to be like that. What my children have become is what I want. And people see them and they're like, oh wow, that's what I want, and that's what I've gotten. Yes. Like I said, having to sacrifice my job because jobs came once with money, once that I knew I had a future. At a point I was doing 2 jobs and getting money, but I didn't think that getting involved with a man, having kids, could somewhat, put a bit of dust on your dreams. But I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as not an obstacle, a small mountain, a small something that you can climb, because it's taught me a lesson now. And I know when I'm put in a certain hole, how I can, turn myself and then get out of it or build something out of it. That is life. I mean, the whole thing is a blessing to me, because in the beginning, there was one big doctor. I think he's still alive. And he said to me, oh, well, if you don't menstruate, you don't have kids. And I came to tell my dad, and he was like, we don't have that in our family. What is he talking about? Yeah, but now I'm going to have a 3rd one. It is rewarding enough. I see people who cry for children, but I'm going on 3. So you can imagine. And I see the mini-me. 3 days ago, my daughter and I were in a quarrel, and she went to report me to her daddy's girlfriend. And the daddy was like, oh Joy, I don't want to talk about this issue, but I'll tell you. Do you know that Na is like you? She looks like you, talks like you, behaves like you. Whatever you people are staging here, it's just you. It is you that is here. It is you. So you people stop your quarrels, cry before I leave the house for you. And I laughed. And it's true. My daughter is very assertive. If it's yes, it's yes. She says yes the first time. There's no going to be any compromise. That's how she is. And that's how I am. To see me in a mini form, my brothers go like, that's you, that's you, that's you, So it's like camera rolling. All the things that I used to do, you are seeing it. This one is live and colored, you see. So it's fun. And it's an achievement. And I thank God. Yes. Yes. it's about hyperemesis. I know most of the doctors have been talking about ovarian cysts and matters pertaining to reproductive health, but one thing they don't talk about is hyperemesis. And I wish, I'm not a full doctor myself, but I just wish one or two doctors on our platform could come together and then teach us about it, teach us about pregnancy itself. Because with this one, I'm in my 8+ month. I cannot brush my teeth. If I tell you within this 8th month, I've brushed my teeth for 4 times because I use toothbrush and blood comes out. I use kucha, I have a problem with it. There's always a problem. You have edema, you have 2 months ago I realized I had what they call I've just forgotten this like piles, but it wasn't piles. They said there's pressure in the stomach, so the baby sits on your organs and your intestines, so there's pressure, so you have some of your lower intestine, whatever, coming out, and you bleed. A whole lot of problems that we have to go through, and you have to find out later on when the problem have come from your midwife. But we could be taught before we get there, so that we'll see what we could do before we get to the hospital. So if I know there are midwives and doctors on this platform, if they can come and teach us once in a while how to handle ourselves, I mean, it would be a great delight.
This video was brought to you by
Echo D Super Baby Diaper and Wet Wipes made with bamboo.